What's up, everybody? And I just wasted my time again. I just wasted my Friday night and Saturday morning again because I chose to watch the most boring and trash movie I have seen in the last 5 years, and it's titled Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. And if you like nonsensical slow-mo action sequences that goes on and on and on and is completely worthless, you will love this movie. If you like just trash writing that doesn't have any subplots, it's just one long action scene for 50 long minutes that takes up both Act 2 and Act 3, then you will love this movie. Because this movie is so ass. I'm not even playing with you. That's why so far on Rotten Tomatoes, it's even getting worse reviews than the first movie. And the first movie I did not even watch because it was so ass. I saw all the reviews. It was trash. But this is just the gist of the movie. I can just summarize it right now. Is Act 1, they care about the grain. They just do long sequences of the grain. Act 2 is a long fight. That's the whole movie. That's trash. But I have to tell you the synopsis of the movie. That's my job as a content creator, to provide real facts as to what I think about movies. So they did not explain how the Dreadnought survived the attack from the last movie, because Korra killed Admiral Noble. She killed him. Now her and the team are going to Veld to get the grain on that planet, and to also tell them that Admiral Noble died, but then he just miraculously survived. They didn't show us how they retrieved his body. They didn't show us how they retrieved his corpse. He just appears on the ship, in a comatose-like state. Then he's still breathing. That makes no sense. And the Dreadnought have Admiral Noble's corpse and plan to fully revive him. They peel the goo off of him, and Admiral Noble is somehow awakened, even though, like I just said, he supposedly died. He somehow knows that Korra and her team is on Veld and tells his men to find her. We now see Korra and the team meet two men named Hagen and Den on a grain field on the planet Veld. The men invite them for food and for rest. During this, Aris, I don't know, they did not even touch upon this. Aris is supposedly a mole that's on Veld that somehow knew that the team was coming to Veld to get the grains, but later in the movie, they did not touch upon this. Throughout, they treated Aris as if he wasn't even a mole, you know what I mean? But Aris is called on the radio by the Dreadnought General, and then they declare that they will arrive in 5 days. As this is going on, Korra tells Hagen and Den that Admiral Noble is dead. Then, as she's telling them this news, Aris interrupts it and states that Admiral Noble is not dead and is actually coming in 5 days. That just made Korra look like a dumbass, because she was just trying to flex to Hagen and Den that, yeah, I was the one that killed Admiral Noble, but it just looked so stupid. They should have revealed that he was alive like later in the movie, not just like early on. But because of this, Titus tells Hagen to call the villagers, to rally them, and to teach the villagers how to fight so they can prepare for the invasion. They need the grain to be here in 3 days' time. Then a trash scene happens when Titus says the work begins at dawn, and Tarak randomly repeats, yeah, dawn, in the calmest and unthreatening way. Like, this movie is so unserious. Then we now see too much exposition when Korra and Gunner, they have sex. Then Korra now explains her history to Gunner, as she was a royal, daughter, and her adopted dad, something about that. But then Korra now continues to explain that she was the reason why another royal daughter is dead, because Korra and Balisarius and the whole, people there, they planned to kill the king and queen and the daughter of that sector or whatever. And some trash CGI looked so ass. I don't know if it was blood or just they meant it to be sparkly glitter, but it was so ass because bright sparkles were splattered on the screen when Korra kills the daughter. Like, is that supposed to be her blood? You know what I mean? Then after that, Belisarius is randomly mad at Korra for killing the kid, despite literally screaming at Korra to kill the kid and screaming at his men to kill the wife and the king. I guess this was Belisarius' way of blaming Korra of the murders. Like it wasn't even touched upon later in the movie, or I don't even know. But because of this, Korra now shoots her way out of the situation and escapes the ship in one of the most uninspiring escapes I've seen. Then we now see a typical Zack Snyder slow montage as Korra's team trains the villagers to harvest grain. And it's literally an iMovie montage of people harvesting grain that did not need to be 1 minute long. The scene cuts to Admiral Noble demanding to be unhooked as he kills a member of the medical team, even though he literally just got revived from near death. The stupid slow motion grain harvesting continues, and man, why the fuck is Zack Snyder so obsessed with meaningless slow motion montages? It's literally 5 minutes of nothing. There's literally a slow motion scene of Titus dipping a water bottle in a big tub of water just to drink water. The grain slow motion scene literally takes up most of Act 1 in the movie. The grain scene literally does not stop. It keeps going and going. It finally stops as Aris and Greta thank Korra and her team by giving them gifts. And man, this scene is long as hell too, as Greta slowly says a new pun as she gifts each member's custom blankets. The cringe does not stop as Titus randomly sings mid-celebration. This whole Act 1 is so ass. There's a new montage where Titus and the team prepare the villagers for war by gathering all weapons and having them build defenses. As all these grain slow motion scenes happen again, some robot man James is stalking them the whole time. There's another slow motion scene montage as Titus explains his backstory of Belisarius killing his former teammates to the team in another exposition. And man, the slow motion backstory scenes don't stop because each single member does the same. Because Millis herself explains how her people were gunned down but were liberated by Blood Axe's resistance in another slow motion sequence. Then all of them continue to explain their backstory in the same way. This shit took like 10 minutes to do. What was the plan of this? It was so ass. Like, why? Then the villagers' training is interrupted as the dreadnought arrive on Veld. They know all about where the grain is due to Aris feeding them information. It's literally taken the dreadnought 5 minutes to land on Veld because Zack is so obsessed with slow motion scenes. Like, god damn, it's so ass. Korra and Admiral Noble eventually face off, and Noble keeps making this weird face. It looks like the dashing Squidward face with his chin, and it's hard to take him serious. Like, is this guy supposed to be a knockoff Darth Vader? I don't know. And Korra randomly lets Admiral Noble have his way to get the grain. Like, isn't that what Korra was trying to not have him do? Like, it just made no sense, and this wasn't even touched upon later. But her only reason was because she didn't want the villagers to die. Like, I guess that's understandable, but I guess this didn't even mean anything because Gunner disagreed with the situation as Korra was hugging him and then shoots the bell to ring the bell, which causes the war to start. During the fight, many villagers die. The war scene is long as fuck with slow motion scenes everywhere, and it makes no sense as Aris and Greta almost get killed even though they gave info to the dreadnought. And it wasn't even touched upon about their betrayal or their backstabbing or their mole tendencies because they just forgot about it. Like, what the fuck? Like, that could have been interesting, but they just forgot about it. Then the only sad good scene is when Baydana's character, I don't know her name, but she dies in the fight, and then the little boy that I guess she made friends with throughout the whole movie cries as he saw her dead body. That's the only good thing I'll say about this movie. But other than that, the war is a 40-minute, in my opinion, probably 50 minutes long sequence with just long slow motion scenes and death. Like, Zack Snyder is an emo kid as a 40-something-year-old man, or probably 50-something-year-old man. I don't know his age. Then Korra and Gunner managed to sneak onto the main dreadnought ship in the engine room to kill Admiral Noble. Noble tells his men, I do not know why, to kill everyone on the ground, including his own men, and he also tells him to destroy the grain. But it makes no sense, because that's the main thing they came to this planet for, and the grain is only accessible on this planet. So why come to the planet in the first place? And then why kill your resource that you want in the first place? It makes all of what happened in this 2-hour-long movie completely meaningless, because as this is happening, it's interrupted by Korra and Gunner. They fight in this long slow motion scene fight. Gunner now gets like almost killed, but as this is going on, the robot Jason or James, who we haven't seen since Act 1, comes out of nowhere to help Korra and the team in the war. Then Korra eventually kills Admiral Noble by slicing his head off. Then Gunner dies as Korra cries into his arms. Then that's the movie. That's the end of the movie. Like, I wasted my Friday night and my Saturday morning because I slept throughout the night as I was watching this. I slept. Then I had to rewatch it again this morning, and it was just so ass watching it a second time. I was put through torture from this. Zack Snyder, he seems like a great guy, but he has a long catalog and history of him being ass. In my opinion, and in many other people's opinion, he killed the public perception of DC by destroying Superman and Batman's morals and ethics with his movies. And now, thank God he's out of DC. He's doing the same thing to his own franchise, killing it before it even starts. Like, Zack Snyder seems like a good guy, but he gotta stop making movies. He gotta be like an accountant. He gotta be a lawyer or something like that, because filmmaking is not his forte. But that's the end of the video. This movie's ass. I'm out. Peace.